Hi, I'm Sabrina, and you are about to watch episode 2 of Life with Bree 88. Episode 2 is an open apology, and while I will mostly do a lot of these podcasts with maybe an agenda, it'll mostly be free thought. But this one I wrote out. And I'm going to try really hard not to read it, but I also want to make sure that I don't forget anything and that I hit all of the points. So it may be me reading it, as it's hard to read and talk and not make it look like you're doing it. So episode 2 is an open apology for this podcast or YouTube channel, or however you're watching it, or whatever you want to consider it. But it's an open apology that I wanted to do for a few different reasons. All will eventually be unveiled about this podcast in the next coming weeks. But before we proceed, I would like to start out with an open apology to everyone ahead of time. As much as I never intend to sound preachy, it can happen from time to time, and unless I say preach at the end of whatever sentence I decide that might be preaching, I'm really not trying to. I also want to give an open apology ahead of time for any time I might sound judgmental. As much as I don't really have a judgmental bone, there are many instances, I'm sure, where either I come across as judgmental, because maybe I'm uneducated about something or unaware of something, and it either sounds like it creates judgment or maybe it does create judgment. It's possible. But saying that, I will always listen and read and think over constructive criticism or educational moments, different perspectives, similar perspectives, whatever the community of you guys wants to share with me to bring something to light. However, and as much as I can say this until I'm blue in the face, it'll happen, but fair warning. I do not tolerate negative, malicious criticism or slander or inappropriate comments or anything really that's just unkind. I don't do that, and I don't tolerate that. But also I feel like in order to tolerate that, I would have to acknowledge it. Or at least I think so. And I won't. I won't comment. I won't defend myself. I won't do any of that. If you want to have your thoughts and you want to run wild with them and make me into something that I'm not, it's hard to change that. But if you feel like I don't understand something or whatever, and you want to drop a comment or send me, something about it and talk through it, I'm here. I'm game. Let's see. But yes, so I won't comment back on anything malicious or mean, unkind, any of that. I won't ever really entertain anything negative like that unless it's constructive. And every so often, though, a judgmental or malicious comment will propel a topic for an episode, because at the end of the day, I firmly believe that a sense of community is what is lacking in the world today. A sense of education is lacking. And without these two things, you have a whole lot of people that think whatever they say is correct. And to each their own. To each their own. But I truly believe that when you actually feel like you're a part of the community, that most people live by the fact that we're only as strong as our weakest person. When we have a sense of community, we want to protect and respect and trust in the people surrounding us. Without community, we are full of hate and anger and all of that. And sometimes, a lot of times, the reason why we aren't feeling as though we're a community is the lack of education on people that might come together to create community and not understanding them or who they are. That type of thing. But, okay, so anyway, so we're only as strong as our weakest person. I told you it's very hard to read and talk. So just bear with me. I told you it was going to be rough the first few episodes. So anyway, we're only as strong as our weakest person. But while we go through this life wanting to be individuals and wanting to make our mark, that's often forgotten. The fact that we are a community at the end of the day. So my open apology ahead of time is if I say or do anything that comes across as not inclusive, but conclusive of people. Feel free to let me know. Like I said, I will not tolerate hate or unkind words or criticism that isn't constructive. And I also don't really know how to put this nicely, but I will put it bluntly. If somebody thinks something is one way because they take it out of context, that to me is one of the rudest and most disrespectful things that people do today. And in the past and in the future, it's very disrespectful. Because when you take things out of context, you are disassociating the purpose or the circumstances that's going on at that time in somebody's world at that moment and choosing to cherry pick something to me, your agenda. And that to me is selfish as hell. Taking somebody else's thoughts or feelings or whatever and making them fit your narrative. So there's that. And I feel, like now that I needed to have this episode to have an open apology to each and every one of the moments that's going to happen, and that I will end up doing because I am human and I make mistakes and I don't know everything and I don't understand everything and I speak before I think all the time without even putting together what it could be. There's a lot. But I can tell you that I have been through so much, way more than a lot of other people in this world. And not nearly as much as a lot of other people also. But I have been through a whole lot. I've traveled a whole lot. And at the end of the day, I truly do feel like I was put through everything I was put through so that I could turn around and help people and things and just everything that, through situations in their life or moments in the world that, one day we'll need a leader in office, running for office, to make legitimate laws and to legitimately look out for people and to try and trickle down some of that respect that everyone really should give each other. So I'm just going to post this. Like I said, I'm not doing the whole editing thing too much right now because it's going to be painful. I'm not like the best public speaker. But this open apology needed to happen. Thank you. Don't forget, kindness is free.